All right, this is war number 8. We were up against New Nation. You guys can see that they banned CGR, Scorpion, and Apocalypse. Good bans. You know, we've been using Scorpion a lot and Apocalypse a lot. CGR has been banned, I think, almost every war, maybe all but one. So we haven't had the opportunity to use him much. But okay, a couple wars ago, it was actually against GT40. I brought in Hercules and was running, you know, full suicides, and it was just a really expensive war. Now I had some, you know, some rough fights that contributed to that expense, but in general, if you're trying to run Hercules like quote unquote optimally for war with, you know, the recoil masteries and all that stuff, he is fairly expensive to run because if you care about Alliance War. You know, you're going to want to heal up your champs nearly to full or to full every time you head into it, or before you head into a new fight and stuff like that. But you don't have to run him with Suicide Mastery. So here, I've got 5 fights this war. They're all with Hercules. Heimdall is just to keep me alive, just in case something goes wrong, like an input drop. I do have a couple mini-bosses. And I'm not terribly worried about any of my fights, but again, it's just an insurance policy. We didn't need an extra white Magneto or anything like that. And then the Gladiator Hulk synergy is just to start Hercules in every fight with 3 feats of strength. So effectively, I have 3 feats of strength right now, and then every single fight, I'm going to try to pick up 2, the heavy attack feat and the intercept feat. So, you know, basically for my mini bosses, I'll be a little bit more ramped. I'll have essentially 1.5 additional fights of build up with Hercules because of the synergy. And again, I just didn't need anything else. So, so yeah. Also, because these fights are just not super scary. I think my 3rd fight is like moderately scary, and then I have mini bosses. But I am not going to be using the recoil masteries until that 3rd fight. So these first 2 fights are just going to be build-up fights. I'm not, you know, concerned really about the fight duration or anything like that. At some point in the future, you know, if we get to a point where we feel like our alliance is able to consistently clear with, you know, just a few deaths every war or fewer, then we will start to focus a little bit more on fight duration, because these alliances like GT40, New Nation, Salty, TCN, all these alliances are able to clear a lot quicker than we are, primarily because I think we've been kind of going with matchups that are a little bit more fail-proof, just to, I don't want to sound mean or anything like that, but just to kind of give our players, you know, a little bit larger margin for error, because we're still in the, you know, phase where we're trying to develop into one of these elite alliances. We're not quite there yet, and yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of our players have a lot of, you know, learning still to do before we can, you know, be a consistently elite alliance. So anyway, but yeah, because we're not really concerned about fight duration in this war, really, period at all, at this point. You know, I've got Hercules without the recoil masteries, and yeah, he's obviously not expensive to run. There isn't really any champ that's expensive to run without recoil masteries if you're playing your fights well. And Kingpin is a really good build-up fight for Hercules, because with each debuff that he has on him, he has a higher combat power rate, which just makes it a little bit easier for you to play him non-contact, you know, without having to, yeah, without having to take a bunch of block damage, or, you know, without having to parry, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So this next fight, I honestly did not need to put on the recoil masteries, and had I not put on the recoil masteries, I would have probably gotten through this fight without, maybe with 1 or 2 items. It is a Quicksilver, and it's on the Protection Knockdown node. I am going to have guidance from a White Magneto. You guys could see my buddy there placing it for me. And, I just wanted to get out of this fight as quickly as possible. And that's ultimately the reason that I decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and put on the Recoil Masteries. I am using a combat regen just to try to offset the suicide damage a little bit. And also just because invulnerability against a champ with, a 13-hit combo just isn't really a good use of boost. So here, I start the fight perfectly with, just screwing that whole thing up. He does evade when you try to intercept him, or when you try to hit him when stunned, but once he evades, it goes on cooldown. So I just kind of screwed that up. If you do get a bunch of whiplashes on you, you can parry or well-timed block a Quicksilver to remove one whiplash. So that's why I was dashing back and landing parries and all that stuff. But overall, I mean, this fight is very safe. And ideally, I don't want him to throw another special attack, but if he does, it's not really a big deal. There, I'm just going to take it on the block, and then I can punish. So, the combat regen didn't end up helping at all because it wasn't a clean fight. So we are going to have to use a couple of items, but this is, my next mini-boss, and then I've got that Aarkus after. I'm going to throw on an invulnerability boost. I think it's for this fight, just because of Conflictor, just in case he gets to an SP3. And then obviously I'll need to have an invulnerability boost for Aarkus, just because my plan is to nuke him and to try to not allow him to throw any special attacks at all other than his SP3. So again, I'm going to have guidance here, and I also have a Cosmic Seed here. It's not going to help me much because Gallant's Cosmic Seed is going to give you additional benefits the more you win fights. I guess it does have like a base, like it helps. I think it gives me an unblockable special attack or something like that. But regardless, I don't really want him throwing his SP2 just because it does significant block damage. And again, I would like to not have to spend a bunch more items after, after wasting a couple for the Quicksilver fight, but as long as I'm nailing the SP1 dexes, pretty easy. Here, I just go for the kill shot, and because I'm essentially at full build-up, I've got 8 feats of strength, plus the 3 from the Hulk synergy. Not really a big deal. Now here, somebody moved up. I think they were also placing guidance on this, but I was a little bit nervous just because I've got the invulnerability running, but yeah, I mean, that fight took 30 seconds, so not a big deal. And there I have my guidance, so this fight's just going to be super easy. And again, I had one guy move up, place guidance, and then the other guy, for some reason, decided to jump in as well. But anyway, okay. We do have the invulnerability. We're at 11 feats of strength, effectively, with the synergy. And yeah, we're just going to completely... I'm just going to be insanely aggressive in this fight. If he wants to throw his SP1, that's fine. If he gets over 2 bars of power, then I will hold block. I don't want him throwing his SP2. It'll eat all of my invulnerability because it's unblockable. And I cannot dex it. So we do have to eat this SP3, but after we come out of this animation, Aarkus is going to die almost immediately. So... yeah, I mean, a pretty safe fight with Hercules. Here I go for the dash back, just in the fight. But yeah, so we had a pretty good clear. We died twice. Newn also finished with 2 lost attack bonuses. They died once and they had a disconnect, but they smoked us on time like most alliances do. So we did drop this war. It was our best war of the season. And we lost, so we're down to 5-3. Our 3 best clears of the season, we have lost. So, bittersweet. I mean, ultimately, looking long-term, you know, I would rather have a 2-death clear and a loss against Newn than you know, a war like last war against ISO where we die 8 times and we get lucky and win. And maybe that's like, you know, a bad leader mentality, but the bottom line is I just want our alliance to be competitive, and I want other alliances to dread matching us the way that they dread matching Newn, GT40, Salty, and you know, TCN and stuff. So overall, very, very happy with this war. Congrats to Newn. They really deserved the win because, again, they only died once. But yeah, that is it. I will catch you guys in the next video. Leave a like and a comment if you want. And if you like these war videos and or the Alliance War rankings videos that I put out, then consider subscribing as well. All right, I'll catch you later.